Hey guys, it's David from Horror Night Updaters here with another stream. We are back to the fog with three The Fog Rises as we come to the close of all the reveals for Halloween Horror Nights 2018 as well as HHN 28 for Orlando. We are going to be discussing quite a few things today. Mainly, this is a very laid back stream. We'll be talking about some of the most recent reveals, as well as some of our most exciting things we are looking forward to. There is quite a lot this year that I'm excited about, and I know there's a few that our co-streamers are very excited about, so we will be talking about that. Today, I am joined by our team members, Aimee.
Hey guys.
And Brian.
Good evening, moviegoers.
I love your Usher impression. It's great. Yeah, so just recently we have had a reveal, especially from Hollywood. We had the last reveal just happen, and that is, of course, Universal Monsters is coming to the event, and this is one I'm personally very excited for. I know there's been a bit of an upset in the community about people very upset that it's not coming to Orlando, but I believe this is John Murdy's little passion project, so it would make sense that this is coming to Hollywood, as John has been trying to get Universal Monsters back for quite a while. However, if it's successful, who knows? It may end up coming to Orlando. So let's just hope that the maze is a big success and hopefully Orlando gets it. So we're going to be talking about it a little bit. It's going to be taking place where Blumhouse was last year at the Universal Plaza, the entrance. It's going to have a bit of a gauntlet as you're going through. This is a very unusual maze, guys, because the maze is actually part scare zone, part maze, which is a really cool little idea. Because as you maneuver through the maze, you will be out in the open in some places where the French section is, where different Universal monsters will be attacking you. So that's the basics of it. We'll be going through locations like Dracula's Castle, Frankenstein's Castle, the Plaza, and this is very exciting. So we're going to start with Aimee. What are you excited for?
I'm really excited for this one because I'm just a big fan of the classic monsters. I have a weird obsession with the Phantom of the Opera. So I'm really looking forward to their interpretation of that and what he's going to specifically look like. But I think it's going to be a good time. I also really like that area of the park. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how they utilize that space over there without having too much things dispersed, so that it doesn't give a cohesive feel.
Yes, I completely agree, and I'm 100% with you on the Phantom of the Opera. I absolutely adore Phantom of the Opera, and we're even getting a bit of a scare zone with the Universal Monsters Masquerade that's next to it, which will be partly Phantom themed as well as the Hunchback of Notre Dame. So I'm really excited to see this kind of scare zone blend with this hybrid of a maze, which is both scare zone and maze, which is very unusual. We don't really have that. We had that a little bit with Blumhouse last year, where the first part was the Purge and it was in the Gauntlet, and then it went inside. But I'm very excited for this one. I think this is going to be cool. What do you think, Brian?
Oh, I'm totally excited. It's one of those things that I'm jealous of you guys as far as doing in a maze. And because we had it in 2012. We had the Universal Monsters kind of done before. So I'm curious to see how you guys play on that. And I was also thinking about while you guys were describing it, I thought to myself about the little section we had in the Monsters and Mayhem last year.
Yeah.
And the way seeing that in person, I thought was spectacular. It was just so amazing to see them and that was just a little segment. So imagine seeing you guys do it as a big house that kind of blends in the streets. I think that's something it's going to be really interesting to see.
I think, yeah, I agree, and I believe with Orlando tends to do that really well with a lot of them houses, where they kind of have these big open areas, and then it goes back into a more claustrophobic environment. But we don't see it a lot with with Hollywood due to the fact that we don't have that much space when doing mazes, and that's why a lot of our mazes are all tent mazes. In terms of the creatures, guys, we're definitely confirmed for Dracula, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, which you guys probably saw in the preview video. But what I've heard is that we're also getting Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is going to look super sick if it's actually in the maze.
Yeah, I did not know that. Exciting. That's going to look awesome.
I agree, because it's a character we don't see that often. From what I've heard is they're going to be very traditionally based looking. However, they'll be more bloodied up, kind of more, I guess you could say, like if you took them from their time periods and brought them into a modern era. I think that's kind of where they're going with, and what John's and the creative team is doing with this maze. And I'm kind of all for that, because I mean we've all got that bad taste in our mouth from the failed Dark Universe, and I think the way John's doing it is probably the better way of doing it. Do you think for the scene with the mummy, they're not even going to put like Boris Karloff or anything? They're just going to have like Tom Cruise in there with the Universal monsters? Oh God, please don't! Tom Cruise just in the maze is like, don't worry guys, this is my maze. I've got this.
Oh my gosh!
Everybody else is like the old school monsters. It's just Tom Cruise is like the mummy.
Like, look at me, the attention's on me. You know what? I think this is a great thing to have at the event. I'm really excited to have the old school monsters come back to their roots. I think originally the ones I was most excited for were Trick or Treat and Poltergeist, but I think now it's probably gone up to like Universal Monsters, Trick or Treat, and probably Stranger Things and Poltergeist. Those are my top mazes I'm probably most excited for. But Universal Monsters this year sounds like it's going to be a very imaginative, very different maze than what we've had in the past. So I'm all for it. I'm all for experimentation at Horror Nights. But yeah.
I think what's really interesting for me with the Universal Monsters is for all of the other mazes, I sort of have an expectation of what I am hoping to get out of the maze. But with Universal Monsters, I'm really open to whatever they're going to be able to create with that. And I think that they have so many possibilities of making that work. And also doing the transitions between each character throughout is going to be really interesting to see. But I'm a little bit more laid back about this, but just as excited as I am for the other mazes. So this is going to be really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will definitely be an experience to go through it. And a lot of this time, especially in September when the event starts for the first time, a lot of people are going to record the maze, and like they do. I mean, Sharp Productions does fantastic work whenever they go through. I kind of don't want to watch the video. I can't. It's like Wikipedia. I can't help but look and spoil it for myself. But I think for Universal Monsters, I'm not going to watch the walkthrough because I want to experience it, because it's such an unusual maze. Yeah, I mean that's our major reveal really for Hollywood. I mean, was getting this. I think saving it. I'm not going to say the best to last because we don't know until we actually go through the maze. But I think this has definitely been a little treat to the fans. And I have to say, I'm glad Hollywood's getting something really cool like this, considering. I'm usually, it's the total opposite, Brian. I'm usually jealous of you guys and some of the cool stuff, like Body Collectors, Recollections. I'm still salty about that. But a lot of the stuff that's been revealed for this year has been very exciting, and that's what we're going to talk about with each of you guys, is what you're most excited for. I'll let Aimee, what are you most excited for this year?
I have this weird split between Stranger Things and Poltergeist. Stranger Things, I'm a huge fan. I mean, I think we all are. It's just an amazing show. And being at the Midsummer Scream panel, I got to, see a lot of the sneak peeks of how they were going to be able to bring it together, especially going into the Upside Down, and actually creating that energy and showing how, you have that little speckly dust in the air.
Yeah.
That is going to be amazing. But at the same time, I'm a huge Poltergeist fan. It was one of my favorite movies growing up with my brothers and I. We would rewatch it all the time, and it was actually filmed in the city that I grew up in. So I have a little bit of a tie to it. And but I'm a little bit nervous about how they're going to be able to bring this to life, because I think it has a little bit too much of a sentimental aspect for me. So I have a lot of really high expectations for this one. Going to be interesting to see how they pull it together. But those are the two that I'm really looking forward to. Trick or Treat, though, also, I have to say, I think Trick or Treat has these really beautiful elements in the film that translate so easily to a maze, and they have these really iconic characters. I'm a little nervous about this one, though, because at Midsummer Scream, they had somebody who put on a Trick or Treat maze, and it was phenomenal. So I feel like the bar has been raised a little bit for me. And I know Universal has, a great creative team, but I'm not sure how they're going to be able to top that one. So we'll see how I feel about it when I go through.
Yeah, because you came into Trick or Treat a bit later than, say, me and Brian, who had already seen it, didn't you? Because I think you remember. I remember you saying that you wanted to see it, but you got around to seeing it a bit later than a lot of us.
Oh, yeah. I only watched it for the first time like 2.5 months ago.
When it got announced, you've already done your research for it then.
Yeah, because it was something that I knew existed. I knew it had a cult following, but I don't know. I just never got around to watching it. I finally did. What I mean is so great about that movie for me is just, the characters are so iconic. Like with Sam, I mean, you see him in imagery everywhere. You know exactly what he's from, and it's just a perfect character for Halloween.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with Sam, he could easily just be an icon for the whole event at this point. Because, I mean, I don't know, Brian, you've got the 80s theme, but from what it looks like on our side, it's very Halloween-y-esque.
Yeah, I like to think of it like Halloween 80s mixed in with some Blumhouse. Like, it's our theme this year.
90% of your maze list is like 80s theme and then Blumhouse.
That's right. They're like, well, we can't forget that product placement. It's got to go in somewhere. Shove it in the corner there.
I have to say, like, Aimee, is there any scare zones you're looking forward to? Because I know there's a few I've looked at that are really good. I mean, we've got things like, The Harvest, which is very interesting from Orlando's. However, we've got a Trick or Treat scare zone all in itself. So there's quite a few that I'm interested. I'm also interested in the Holidays from Hell scare zone. Do you remember last year where they had Urban Inferno? Do you remember?
Oh
that?
Yeah, I remember that one distinctly. Yes.
Well, that's where the Holidays from Hell scare zone is going to be, and what's cool is it's going to be represented for each scare actor is going to be representative of each year, each holiday from the year. So we got a demonic turkey man for Thanksgiving. Krampus is coming back as the icon for Christmas, of course. Father Time just looks flipping creepy.
Yes.
He's literally this old man with an old beard. Like it's just a creepy image. We've also got how is it? The Leprechaun, of course. You have to have the Leprechaun from Holidays in Hell. But yeah, I mean, there's a few scare zones as well that I'm really excited for. The Masquerade, kind of the one with Phantom and the Hunchback, I think is going to be a really cool one. But Brian, which ones are you most excited for?
Well, I guess I'll speak first and foremost for Orlando. Well, do you want me to go with Orlando or Hollywood? What are we doing here? Kind of everything? Or?
You can do Orlando, mate. It's your side of the pond.
Okay. Well. I was gonna say it's like oh, what do I do? What do I do? I got so many options. So, but I guess with Orlando, what it really comes down to is like two different things. The first one for me is, I know it's going to sound strange. I kind of mentioned it before in my in the previous live stream, but a big thing for me is this event's going to be the Killer Clowns from Outer Space Scare Zone.
Yes.
Like, I'm just jacked up. I kind of like Aimee, like with watching films, to get ready for events. Like, I had not seen the film since, the last time I saw it, I was like an infant, like a I don't know, the 5-year-old or something watching it, on cable, and I got scared because of the clowns. So like watching it like years later, you're like, I'm like, oh, this is the movie that I remember as a kid. And then watching it, just my mind was blown. I had to break one of my friend's hearts the other day, because she's going to Horror Nights for the first time since like 2003. Like, that was the last time she's been. So she's like, oh, I want to go for Stranger Things. Like, Stranger Things, it's going to be great. And I had to break her heart, tell her, it's like, well, I got more out of that one viewing out of Killer Clowns than I did of 8 hours of Stranger Things. And she's like, what? It's like, I can't help it. I liked that more. It was so great to watch, and I loved it, and I can't wait to see all the clowns represented with Jumbo and Slim and Spiky. Like, see them at the event. Like, so that's what I'm mostly excited for, more than anything. As far as
any days,
I know, and that's gonna be the sad thing. Like, I'm setting my expectations up so high. I'm trying to keep them like down to earth, because like I know it's like it's just one scare zone next to Starbucks. It can't be that great, So I'm trying to like set my expectations to a certain level, but I'm still super excited to see like what they pull off with that sidewalk next to Starbucks. So
yeah, they've just put up the sign, by the way, for Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I'll send. I'll post a picture in our chat, and you can have a look.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, Killer Clowns looks sick.
And then like if I had to pick a maze, like if I had to like but like Killer Clowns is kind of in its own category. But if I had to like move beyond that, I'd definitely say like Dead Exposure, like Patient Zero. I think it's going to be like what I'm like most excited for maze wise, like this year.
Yeah, Dead Exposure. Aimee, this is from Orlando's side, but it's a cool concept, and I hope we get it in Hollywood. Basically, the whole maze, it's got zombies, which ordinarily would be like, zombies again. But they have a cool gimmick where literally it's almost pitch black, but then there's strobe lights, and you don't see the zombies until they're like 2 feet in front of you.
Oh, goodness.
So the really cool aspect from the first one, tiny bit of a history lesson. When they first did it back in, was it 2008? Yeah, it was 2008 for the Reflections of Fear with Bloody Mary. Every time the strobe happened, there was the sound of a camera going off, because the idea was this reporter was going to these infected sites and taking pictures. So it had a really cool and rich story with it. So I'm actually curious to see how they pull off this new version of the maze. But,
definitely. That's what I'm excited for.
But Brian, I think, I agree. I think that's definitely going to be a fun one for you to go on. You got to let us know what it's like when you go.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I got to let you guys know. I'm going to let you guys know everything about like what it is. And I'm excited because like, for me, I never got a chance to see like the first Dead Exposure. So kind of like other mazes in the past, like Body Collectors, like you said, Body Collectors, like the one that they had back in 2015, like was my first kind of Body Collector. So it'll be cool to see like my first Dead Exposure house, kind of live that.
I that's one maze I hope they bring back for the anniversary. But in terms of Hollywood, definitely got some. I was just looking them up again, and Hell's Harvest sounds very interesting as a scare zone. Aimee, you're probably gonna like this.
Yeah, it is the #1 scare zone for me. I am really looking forward to that. It fits my aesthetic, which is the whole like witchy, pagan, dark magic vibe, which is really what it seems like this is going to be. And it talks about evil dolls being brought to life, and I think that's going to be really fun to see.
I agree. I think it's this whole event. I'm really excited to see come to life, because I have to admit I wasn't a huge fan of last year's event. I thought Knott's like hit it out of the park, and I know like as a hardcore fan for Horror Nights, it makes me sad to say that. But 2017 was a little bit of a letdown, especially in terms of scare zones and Terror Tramp. However, I think this year is definitely going to be a lot of fun. in regards for my most excited things, I think, like I said before, I think Trick or Treat is still number one because it is my. I watch it every year. It's a tradition for me. It's one of my favorite films, and I'm so excited for Michael to start working on Trick or Treat 2. But in terms of like Scare Zone, I would have to say probably Monster Masquerade, where it's the mix of Phantom of the Opera, who is my favorite Universal monster, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. But I'm not too bothered with Toxic Tunnel because I think we've had it before.
Yeah, Toxic Tunnel is actually I'm not a really big fan of it, and one of the things that they do in it typically is that really intense strobe light, but it's for a really extended period of time, and it actually makes me start to get very dizzy. So typically I'm the person with my hands on somebody else and my eyes closed so that I'm not getting sick on my way through it. But last time I had a really wonderful experience because a scare actor went up to me to compliment my t-shirt. And right, so I have it's not a favorite of mine, but now I have this really endearing memory of a scare actor kind of breaking character a little bit to be like, oh, your Horror Nights t-shirt is awesome, and so I have a little bit of mixed feelings now.
You should wear it again.
Oh,
because clearly,
no doubt, I always do.
I was which one is it? I'm curious.
Krampus.
Oh, it's the Krampus shirt.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that shirt. I'm like during Christmas time at my work, we can wear something Christmassy. Now, I went up to my work and said, "Can I wear the shirt?" And they're like, "Sure. What is it?" And I said, "Well, it's not a traditional Christmas shirt. It's got Krampus on it." And they're like, "Who's Krampus?" So I spent 10 minutes talking to my colleagues about the legend of Krampus, and they're like, "Yeah, is it scary?" I'm like, "No, not really." And they're like, "Yeah, you can wear it." So I'm like, "Yes." Nice. So every day, like I would work, I would wear the Krampus shirt, and then every chance I got, I washed it so I could wear it again.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite shirt. Yeah.
So well done, and I'm. Brian, did you watch the stream for that the creative team from Orlando did by chance?
No, I missed it.
So you missed out what the merchandise looks like for this year.
Yeah, I totally did. Was there anything like give me a quick rundown. What was all the good stuff?
From off the top of my head, definitely Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat was really cool. It had Sam on it, and it just looked really, really awesome. I'm going to try and find a photo for you in just a sec here, but
I did see some things, like I saw like the lanyard and stuff, but I didn't get like a whole rundown of like everything.
Let me see if I can forward it to you here. Just watch the message.
Oh yeah, I'm just hoping they do like other years where like we get like stuff that's like from other things that's not like tied. Well, it's tied in the event, but it's like a third party kind of thing. Like when we did like American Werewolf in London merchandise, I'm hoping we get like a bunch of that for like Killer Clowns, like 30th anniversary merchandise. Like just give it to me. My wallet's ready.
I think that'd be cool. I'm actually curious to see what we get because obviously that's not all the merchandise for this year that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
However, with Hollywood, we still don't know what we're getting. I'm pretty sure, obviously, like usual, we'll probably share the Trick or Treat shirt that you probably see in the message.
Yeah, I like it. It's really good.
The Stranger Things one, I really, really like. The merchandise for this year is going to be, I think, really, really great. I'm very excited to see what Hollywood's house shirt looks like for this year. A lot of speculation for the Orlando house shirt is that it's going to have the VHS tapes. I know someone made a custom on HNU Club 91. It's fantastic group. If you guys want to check it out, it's really great. A lot of fans are fantastic on there. Someone posted a custom shirt that they made for the house, and it's all the VHS tapes with all the houses on it, which I thought was great. But yeah, I'm excited to see what we get this year. What about you, Aimee?
Yeah, I mean, I really like this Trick or Treat shirt a lot. So I'm hoping that we'll get that over here as well.
We will.
But I mean, oh, we will for sure then. Yeah. Oh well, yeah, okay. I will be buying it.
anything like that with in terms of Horror Nights, those tend to be not exclusive. They're shared between parks because it's more expensive to do separate designs than it is to just share the T-shirt designs. So we will be getting that Sam shirt, which is flipping awesome.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you know, typically I only do one shirt a year, so that'll probably be the one that I get. But I'm glad.
It's better. You have bigger will than I do. Because I usually, what I do is tradition, and anyone that goes to the event with me knows this. I usually get the year shirt, so I get the house shirt, and I also get the house pin as well. So I've got my whole lanyard is filled with different years and that. And the nice thing is Neil's not here right now. I think he's still on holiday and he's unable to join us. But Neil usually goes to Orlando and gets me some of their merchandise as well. So we kind of have this international smuggling ring going on where I get him Hollywood stuff and he gets me Orlando stuff, and we just come back to the UK and trade.
You guys just show up with your trench coats. Right? Yeah. Okay, what do we got this year?
Yeah, Horror Night stuff. But yeah, so it's like the merchandise for this year. I'm very excited to see. I might actually get a new lanyard this year. I've been using the HHN 25 lanyard for a while, and as much as I like it, I kind of want to try something different now.
Yeah, you gotta mix it up.
Yeah, I gotta mix it up. I'm like fashion. Horror Nights, like you've seen it. 95% of my wardrobe is all Horror Night stuff. But yeah, no, I'm excited for the merchandise this year. They're actually brought back the the Rest in Peace VIP experience at Hollywood. Brian, I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, I did see something about it. I did catch a little glimpse of it.
Yeah, they brought back the Rest in Peace thing, and it's really cool because they didn't go into depth in what you get to see. I think it was behind the scenes kind of get to see, probably you'll get to see one of the mazes in the daylight, but also you get to see a live scare actor makeup demonstration.
Oh wow,
which is really cool. And then you get unlimited access to all the mazes and that. So basically it was the front of the line pass back in like 2007 onwards to around 2011. We missed that. But you also get a free little you get a little rest area where you can have like snacks and stuff like that, and an open bar basically. So I think it's really expensive though. It's from $200 to $300. As much as I like the event, I don't think I could afford that. If I did, it would be once I'd be going to the event. What about you, Aimee? Just like...
in my dreams. I mean, that sounds wonderful, but yeah, it's just a little bit too expensive. And we have a really good strategy that, you know, the two of us employ to be able to get through the mazes, you know, quickly so that we're not there too late or waiting too long in line. And I think because we have that, it makes me feel a little bit better about the fact that, you know, we can't afford that kind of ticket.
Yeah. I mean, I got asked by one of our viewers once, is the front line pass worth it? And I basically said no, it really isn't, because a lot of the times now, for those who don't know, me and Aimee, and I have to credit my dad because my dad's the one that came up with this strategy. When they brought back early access to Hollywood's event, basically it starts at 5. So what me and Aimee do is we go early around about 3 o'clock. We get there by 3, get something to eat on City Walk, hang out for a bit, and around 4-ish we get in line, and it's usually pretty good. We're usually at the front of the line. Now at this point, when they open early access, they only open 2 of the mazes on the bottom lot, and then they release them in intervals of about an hour. And once we hit the lower lot, mazes first. We get those done. We go to when the next mazes get open, which in this case would be the backlot mazes. So I'm believing early access will be for Stranger Things and Trick or Treat because they're on the lower lot this year. And then we get the backlot done. Then once we've got the backlot mazes done, we go all the way. At this point, we're like, what would you say, about 40 minutes into the event?
Oh yeah, it hasn't been long at all.
No, so we go upstairs, we hit all the upper lot, we hit the Terror Tram. At this point is just before 7. We have done all the mazes, and then the rest of the evening is like chillaxing.
Yeah, and you know, it can be a little bit stressful because we take it very seriously. At least I did last year, so it was very like, you know, quickly going to the next maze. But we didn't wait very long for anything, less than 30 minutes for every maze. But it does have its downside because I do remember one year, because we do get a lot of the tent mazes at Hollywood. We went through Insidious, and the sun was still up, and you know, it's not the tent isn't completely secured all the way around, so we're getting the sun rays coming into the maze, which can take a little bit of the ambiance away from what you're experiencing. But at the same time, we know that we're going to be able to get through every maze and still have time to spare at the end of the night, which is great, because you hear so many times about people who go without a plan, because you just really do need to have a plan when you go to this kind of event with how popular they are, and they don't get through everything, and that's just such a shame.
It is. I always feel bad for people that come in exactly at 7 o'clock, because a lot of times they miss those mazes, and a lot of times people come back out and they say, oh, I've only done about 4 of the 7 mazes. And I'm like, well, if you go early, you hit that early access is the best thing that happened to Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood, because it allows you to get into the event early, get all the mazes that you want done. You can chillax for a bit, get something to eat. We usually hit Krusty Burger. And used to be Jurassic Cafe, but now, like, Krusty is kind of taking the spot. But then we get all the upper lot, the Terror Tram's all done, and then the rest of the evening we'll be like, what maze do you want to do? Let's go hit, I don't know, Trick or Treat in this case. The line's not that bad, and we just plan it out that way, and then we get the most out of the evening, because Horror Nights is not cheap. It's like, our tickets, I think, it was like $79, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was somewhere, it was like a little over 80 after tax.
Yeah, so you want to get the most out of your event. Brian, I don't know, do you have a plan for Orlando, or do you have
I have to say, that's why I just let you guys talk, because I wanted to listen to this glorious, like, experience that you guys have, like, going to Halloween Horror Nights. I'm like, my God, like, that sounds great. Oh, we just go in, and we catch some maze in the lower lot, and then we just chillax. I'm like, man, I want to do that at Horror Nights. I'm actually looking, as you guys are talking, I'm looking at the guide map here going, okay, well, we have to do this, we wanted this. We, like, unfortunately, like, you're saying, like, oh, you guys don't need express, you don't need, like, front of the line pass. I'm like, no, not if you're going to Orlando. Like, that's a necessity. And unfortunately for me, that's a necessity I can't, like, really afford, like, on the fly. Yeah. So, like, so I am the guy who, like, plans everything, right? And, like... Yeah, you do. And unfortunately, even on, like, the best planning that I've done throughout the years, we still only max out, like, last year we maxed out at a top, like, per night of, like, 5 houses out of 9, just because, like, you have to get in, you can only get in, like, at most, like, 4 before it just gets, like, you don't want to stand in those lines. Like 65, 85, 95, you're like, I'm not standing in those lines. I don't care what's in there. I don't care if it's like, it's like a house that's handing out gold bars to you. I'm not standing in that line. Yeah. And so for us, like, when I go with my friends and stuff, it's like, then they kick in and like, well, let's go ride Men in Black. Let's go do, because it is it's like the only thing to do with, like, low weights. And so, like, in order to maximize the most out of your evening, you'd like to see the houses, but, there's limits. So you usually catch them at the beginning of the night, like, or, beginning of the evening, and where everything's, like, pretty much slow. And then, towards the end of the night, then things pick back up, and then you try to catch what you missed in the middle. Like, towards the end, you, like, try to rush everything, so you're, like, running into line of, like, Stranger Things at, like, I don't know, like 12:58 or something. You're like, all right, this is the last one. Cut off the rope. So that's the experience for me, like in Orlando. That's why I'm kind of excited for the Killer Clowns maze, because it's like, oh, good, a line that I don't have to stand in, and I can actually videotape. Like I can videotape something other than them tasing me at the front of the maze for videotaping. I can actually go videotape something, and I don't have to stand in a line. This is great. So, but I'm excited. But I'm still excited for the event. It's great. It's a great yearly thing, and I love to do it. But yeah, unfortunately, that's the rigmarole that we have here in Orlando.
I read a comment somewhere, and I can't recall, and I wish I could credit this person because it was hilarious. They were talking about Orlando, and that, like, someone was asking on one of the, I think it was on HHM Club 91. They were asking about do you guys recommend getting the express pass for Orlando? And someone posted, let me put it this way. The Express, you can get the Express, but it doesn't feel like the Express because so many people have bought the Express pass.
Yeah!
That there's a line for the Express pass. It's like,
no, especially for like 26. I think it was 26. Where a lot of people were just like, I was the guy in the 55-minute wait, and I'm looking over at the Express, and like I'm going ahead of them in line. I'm like, well, maybe it's not worth it after all.
Yeah, it's I mean, that's, I guess, one of the positive. I mean, there's a lot that Orlando does really well, but I think this is where Hollywood kind of comes in and kind of has a better plan with it, with the early access, because a lot of times, like, I've seen, I mean, Aimee, you've seen as well, like how busy it gets during peak night, like, especially during, like, when we hit, I'd say about 9 o'clock, 9 or 10, when people start to pour into the park, and it just makes me wonder, like, why would you come in at this time?
I mean, you can barely move at certain parts of the park, and the lines, especially for the really high-profile things, which, this year is going to be Stranger Things and Trick or Treat, I would imagine. The lines get up to 2 hours long really quickly.
I'm estimating, I'm saying it now, I'm betting Stranger Things is going to get that.
Definitely.
That's the problem, and this is why I love how we plan this like a military operation, is because a lot of the times it gets to that point during the peak evening, and we're just sitting there like, oh, we've done everything. Like, we can just eat, drink, get something, chillax for a bit, rest our feet, because you do a ton of standing and walking at Horror Nights. If you ever want to go fit, just get a ticket to gym. You're good. You don't need the gym anymore, because you are going to lose weight. I mean, I always feel bad for these people that are just coming in now, and I'm just thinking, I always tell people I'm not afraid to share what we do, because I want to help people and get the most out of the event, because I feel bad, because at the end of the day, I overhear these conversations. It's like, oh, we only got to do 5 mazes tonight. Like, I can't really afford to come back. And I'm like, dude, just go to the early access. I can understand in some reasons some people work and they can't really get to the event as quickly, but it's like, yeah. That's why if you hit the park early, you can get the most out of it. Hit those, because we don't stop. Literally, don't we, Aimee? Because we literally get out of that maze and we power walk to the next one.
Yeah, that is the thing. That's why, a lot of people want to go to Horror Nights with us or with me and my husband. And I'm very clear. I tell them exactly what our plan is and what we do every year. And it's very intense. And a lot of people, they actually want to back out of going with us because it is a little bit intense. You have to be able to keep up the pace to go with us. We take it, pretty seriously, and it's so worth it and it's so fun. But it's definitely a plan for somebody who's, a serious Horror Nights fan who wants to get through everything and is willing to destroy their body a little bit to be able to achieve that goal.
I have to admit, I'm a larger gentleman, but I can outwalk and outpace and literally outlast any thin person going to Horror Nights. I can keep going until like 2 a.m. I did that once. Like, I literally, I think it was with Aimee, it was with Hans and their group. They were done for the night and they went off. And this was back in 2012 when they had Silent Hill, and I'm like, no, I want to do one more. I want to do one more maze. And they're like, all right, we'll meet you outside. So I actually ran down all the steps from the stairway.
Oh, dang!
Stairway, sorry, and ran, and I was the last person to go through Silent Hill. I'm like, I'm just exhausted after, but I'm like, worth it.
Well, I remember when we were with the same group of people and we wanted to go through Alien vs. Predator again.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we were on the upper lot and they just chilled, and we went all the way back down. We had to take the tram down, back to the maze, but it was so worth it to be able to go through that again and see the Queen. It was a beautiful experience. Loved that maze.
That's one of those things I hope, and perhaps we'll see it with Stranger Things, is a Demogorgon giant puppet, because that will be really sick. I know we do have some puppets, and I know some of them are going to be suit actors. I'm just curious to see how the Demogorgon is going to fit in. It's going to be terrifying seeing in the maze, because that thing is bloody terrifying. Excuse my language, but but it'll be great to see them pull off. Now we're going to talk about something that is either very not to everyone's liking, or you either okay with it, or it's Blumhouse. Blumhouse has come back. Now, I'm going to give the first stab at this to our good friend Brian, because Brian, there is a lot of hate going on your version of Blumhouse. Take it away, good sir.
First of all, I was going to say I loved that segue. You didn't take a stab. Like, I love that. I caught that. I was like, oh, that's good. But no, to be fair, let me put it this way. I'll put out my 2 cents. Yes, the last Blumhouse maze, and I can only speak for Orlando, but last year our Blumhouse maze I thought was like the weakest of like the bunch. I was like, okay, well, we've already got Purge everywhere else. Like, as soon as I walk out of here, here's more Purge. There's Purge over there. I'm trying to buy, like a pumpkin juice, and there's a Purge guy over there. So like it's just kind of just everywhere, and so I was kind of just sick of it. Plus, it just felt like it kind of took up more space from, like, if you have Sinister in there, then put in Sinister. But anyway. So that's what I felt about the first one. So kind of going into this year, I am kind of glad that, first of all, it's down to like 2 properties. Like, let's just get it down to like 2 properties, not 3, clutter up everything. Let's get it down to 2. And actually, like, I just watched, Happy Death Day for the first time the other day. Like, I finally like popped it in because I'm like, all right, more homework. So, and I actually thought it was pretty creative, pretty interesting. I'm interested to see how they're going to put this, into a maze that is, is maybe different than what you guys did in Hollywood the previous year. Kind of like what's, comparison wise. And so I think just a little bit of Purge and then a little bit of, Happy Death Day kind of put together. I think that's a good, like, last bit house. Essentially we're getting another house for free here in Orlando. They're like, here's a 10th house. Okay, some people would argue that it's not for free because of Bill and Ted or whatever. Like, some people could argue that there was a price to pay. But we're getting another house, and, I think it's good for what we can get, like, as far as, like, a last 10th house. So I'm interested to see what they do with it.
We went to go see the film, didn't we, Aimee, before HHN, and we actually ended up enjoying it.
Yeah, well, it was a good film, but yeah, we got to see that one together.
Yeah, it's I really enjoyed that. Like the film itself actually surprised me, because I went in thinking, well, it's a horror film like we can see before HHN ends and stuff like that. But I actually ended up going in and kind of enjoying it. I was like, is it going to win any awards? No, it's. I thought it was better than Unfriended, I have to admit. So, but with Hollywood, we have Unfriended, based on the first film, not the new one, The Dark Web, because John Murdy has confirmed that it's only based off the first film. And we also have, what was it?
Truth or Dare.
Truth or Dare. Thank you, Aimee. Yeah, we've got Truth or Dare as well. Both not great. I saw Truth or Dare, and it's so cringeworthy. I
actually have not seen either of those movies, and you're not selling me on them. So,
I mean, I say to everyone, this is personal opinion. Go see the film if you want to check it out, because obviously everyone has a different opinion. I know there's a lot of people that didn't like Happy Death Day, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. It was a fun little film. But yeah, like Truth or Dare was just poor. It felt like this brand new Slender Man film that came out. It was just devoid of soul. But I'm just coming up with unintentional puns today. I swear, I'm not doing these on purpose.
That's all right. Back to the Fog 3 unintentional puns.
I should rename the stream that. But the other thing is Unfriended. I did watch Unfriended. It wasn't the worst thing I saw. Like, it's by far not a terrible film, but it didn't sell me on it. And the way John has described it is there's going to be a lot of like screens in the maze to kind of reenact that whole like Skyping session. But that Laura Barnes is going to be part of the maze. She will be there. She will be actively scaring you in the maze. Which we only get to see her maybe, I think. Aimee, have you seen Unfriended? Because I really don't.
No, I have not.
I guess this is kind of, well, John's already said it on Twitter, so I guess it's not really.
Oh, then he's already spoiled it. It's fine.
Yeah, I guess so, and I guess we have to really talk about this because it's part of the maze. But Laura Barnes, it's not the spirit of Laura Barnes; it's a demon. It's a vengeful demon that's taking the form of Laura Barnes. But when I watched the film, I just thought it was a ghost. I never thought it was a demon. It doesn't make it clear if you watch the film. You just think it's the spirit of Laura Barnes coming back for revenge. But I'm curious to see the design that they go with, because honestly, you see Laura at the end of the film, but it's not a very clear shot. In fact, you don't see her that clearly at all through the film. So I'm curious to see how this pulls off. I'm liking it more than the first Purge being that, but yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know, to be honest. Blumhouse has kind of got me mixed feelings, bros. Like, I can't handle these feelings. Do I hate it? Do I like?
Well, you got nothing to worry about at all. There's nothing to worry about because, as we all know, Universal prides itself on one thing, and that is screen-based attractions.
Oh,
so,
God,
like, if they've got anything covered, it's this.
We've got screen-based mazes now.
Yeah, in the next evolution, you're gonna be tapping your Volcano Bay band to the house now and get a wait time to come back.
I don't know. Blumhouse is at the bottom of my list, and I think it's the same with a lot of people. I'm not gonna hate on it. When I judge a maze, I like to go through it multiple times to get a feel for it, and I will do that with. We'll do that anyway, Amy. We usually hit the mazes multiple times, don't we?
Oh yes.
But I don't know about this one, guys.
I'm gonna have to agree with you, and I think that actually what I might do is not watch the films deliberately, so that I can get maybe a different perspective. Because it seems like I'm looking them up online right now, and they don't have the best reviews. So, maybe I can get a different feel for what this is going to look like and not have any expectations. Because regardless of whether you've seen the film or not, it should still be a good, cohesive maze that, is enjoyable to anybody.
A maze is a maze at the end of the day, and I can enjoy even... I mean, El Kukui I was severely disappointed with when it was... when I went through it. But at the end of the day, I still enjoyed it because it's a maze. But... it's one of those things, like, I'm just grateful that we have more mazes this year. And I think, Brian, that's what you said with Orlando, and I agree. I think it's just the fact that we're getting more mazes than we have before is fantastic. And I totally forgot one of the things I'm also very excited for is Halloween 4. I am very stoked about this. According to John on Twitter, we were trying to get... we were supposed to get Blumhouse's new Halloween film based on the 2018 film. However, something has happened. Now, I guess it has something to do with Miramax or something along those lines. But that's why if you guys have seen the maze construction, that's why it took so long. Because originally it was supposed to be Halloween 2018, but that fell through, so now it's Halloween 4. But I'm still excited because as you guys know, I'm a huge Michael Myers fan, so anything Michael Myers, I'm all good for, and I'm really excited for this one. Halloween 4 is not a bad film either. It's one of the better sequels. I need to rewatch it again, and I think I might do that tonight, actually, and rewatch the film. But I'm super stoked to have Michael back in the event since we missed out on Titans of Terror. So, what do you think, Aimee?
Yeah, I actually haven't seen Halloween 4, but it is on my for sure to watch list before we go to the event. And I actually, this is another one just like Trick or Treat, where I actually only watched the original Halloween movie very recently, probably only about 4 months ago. But you can know for sure that I liked it because I now have a poster framed in my living room of it. So it obviously struck me pretty strong. So I'm looking forward to watching Halloween 4. I have not seen 2 or 3, but I've been told, skip 3. 2 is okay, but not necessary to watch 4. But I'm looking forward to the maze definitely, especially since this will be my first time experiencing Michael Myers, having actually film and being more familiar with the character.
Yeah, I'm excited. I wish we got the 2018 film because it would have been great to kind of go see the film. Which, ironically, Aimee, it comes out the same day we actually go to the event, which is October 18th. So that's really exciting. But I don't know. It's Halloween 4 is a good film. I'm curious to see how they pull this off. We got a bit of Halloween 4 quite a few years ago, I should say. Back in 2009, we had The Life and Crimes of Michael Myers, which had a kind of amalgamation of different Halloween films, including 4, because we had the hospital burned Michael, the one that's in the bandages, instead of his traditional mask. So I'm excited. I'm all for, like, super stoked for more Michael Myers at the event. I'm curious to see if they do any more merch for it, but there you go. What about you, Brian? Because you're getting Halloween 4 as well.
Yeah, I'm totally excited. Any more, any excuse to have more Michael Myers, and it kind of blends in with our theme of the 80s and stuff like that. So I'm kind of glad that even though it fell through, I am disappointed that, but I am glad for us in our theme that it does like kind of tie in because it's an 80s film and everything else. So I actually watched the film the other day, rewatched it again. I really liked it. I'm excited to see. I really want to see if they do like a gas station kind of scene, in the like for like the put that in there for the maze. Although it'd probably be hard to do because it's going to be in the Shrek building. But I'm excited. I've been through every other Halloween maze they've done here at the event, and so I'm just excited to see another version of it. And I'm hoping for another Easter egg to Halloween 3. Put that in there somewhere. So overall, I can't complain. I think it's going to be a good house.
Cool. Well, with that, guys, I think we have come to the end of our 3rd stream. We'll definitely do one probably before the event starts. And thank you very much, guys, for joining us today. The video will shortly be up for everyone to see if you missed the stream. Thank you very much for our co-streamers, Aimee and Brian, for joining us, the HNU team.
Yeah, good to be here. Good to do another show.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a blast.
Mm-hmm.
And until the next time, guys, we'll see you in the fog.